Hi everybody, it's John from wpcenturion.com, and today we're going to learn how to set up a website using WordPress. Now we have the WordPress website up in front of us now, and by the end of today's tutorial this is what I will show you how to create step by step. There's no coding involved and you don't need any previous web design experience. This is literally a look over my shoulder as I walk you through everything you need to set up a website using WordPress. Now, if you're anything like me, you've probably spent loads of time reading books about how to set up a website. Nothing against books. Personally, I tend to learn things better if I can watch somebody via video, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. This tutorial will guide you through everything you need to know about how to set up a website using WordPress. The site we will be designing will be mobile responsive, which means it will automatically resize depending on the type of device that you're using. So if you've got an iPad, it will work really well on that. Likewise, if you have an Android or iPhone or Windows Mobile or any other kind of mobile, it will resize and work really well on that too. The website we're going to build will work on pretty much any device that you have. Now, one of the great things about WordPress is it's a free content management system. I've been building websites using it exclusively for the last 8 years. By using WordPress as the foundation for your website, you're in really good company. Some of the most popular blogs and websites on the internet today are powered by WordPress. Usain Bolt, the world's fastest man, uses WordPress for his website. Beyonce, Time.com and Snoop Dogg all use WordPress too. In the following video, I will show you how to make a website using WordPress that I would normally charge clients £1,500 for. You're going to learn how to do it with virtually zero costs involved. Before we get started, let's take a closer look at the site we're going to build today. Okay, so we've got the WordPress website up in front of us now, and this is the website that we're actually going to be designing today. And as you can see, it's for a company called Green Gardens, taking care of your space outside. It's actually for a fictitious garden maintenance company. And hopefully you agree it's a really nice fresh looking site. It's a pretty cool theme, and as I said before, it's a free theme, so we're going to show you how to set all of this up using WordPress, and it should be pretty straightforward. I'm going to show you how to set up a custom logo, which you can see there at the top. I'm going to give you some useful tips about where you can get images and where you can actually get professional logos designed. I'm going to talk you through how you can set up this really cool looking slider in the middle and where you can actually get images. The images you can see here are obviously garden related, but if you're going to design this site for your own business, then you'll need a place to go perhaps to get some stock photography. I'm going to talk you through all of the various different elements that you see on the website, including the free quote element there and how to set up a free quote form on the website. If we scroll down a bit further, we can see some additional images there and some customer testimonials. So I'm going to show you how to set all of that up in our WordPress installation. I'm going to take you through creating WordPress menus, which you can see going across the top here. And you've also got this really cool little drop-down menu effect. And again, I can show you how to set that up. If we click on one of the pages, it takes us to the garden design page. And as you can see, we've got a mixture here of text and images. I'll show you exactly how to set up this image and how to get the text to flow around the image, just like you see on the screen now. You'll notice we've also got a sidebar, which at the moment is displaying a customer testimonial and also a free quote box. Now I'll show you how to set that up using widgets in WordPress. If we click onto the Contact Us form or page, you can see we've actually got a really nice looking Contact Us form where you can put in your name, your email address, the subject, the message, and then you can hit send. I'll show you exactly how to set that up in WordPress and configure it, so when you hit send it will actually come through to your own email address. Now, one of the really cool things about this website, as I've mentioned previously, is that it's actually mobile responsive. So if we take a look at that, when you change the screen size, it kind of shrinks, and if I shrink it, you'll see it's adapting and changing. So if you've got a mobile phone, it's going to kind of look a little bit like that, and we go all the way down to a small screen size and it looks just like that. So if we come back out, that's kind of probably what it's going to look like on an 8-inch tablet. Then we go into more what it's going to look like on an iPad, and then as it comes back out, we've got our normal kind of desktop size there. Now hopefully you agree, it's a really fresh looking website and it's going to be pretty straightforward for us to set up. So let's dive straight in and register a domain name. Okay, so just before we get started, I want to quickly run through some key terminology with you just to make sure you're comfortable with these terms. So if we look at this items.txt notepad file, we've got these items up. Let's start off with domain name. Domain name is simply a website address. So an example of a domain name would be youtube.com or facebook.com. We're actually going to buy the domain name from HostGator, and the cost of that is $13 or £8, and that's an annual recurring cost. Next thing we're going to set up again through HostGator is hosting, and the cost of that is $7.96 per month or £4.80. Now all we're going to do with hosting is simply upload our website files to a computer effectively in the cloud, if you like, and by doing that we then are able to present those files to the rest of the world via the World Wide Web. Now I can give you a special 25% discount code. Now we've already seen that we're going to be using WordPress, which is a free content management system. The theme that we're going to be using is also free, which you can see in the background there. The logo in my demonstration is actually free, but I will point you towards a couple of services that you can use if you're not familiar with working with graphics. Photos, some of the stock photography that I'm using on this site are from a couple of sites, and I will show you how to set all of that up. Of course, if you're good with photos and photography, then you potentially have your own photos that you can use. That's great. You want to make sure that you do actually have the rights to use photos. I wouldn't recommend just simply searching for photos online and just kind of using any old photo that you find. You need to make sure that you have the rights. Okay, so the normal cost that I would charge for a website is £1,500 or $2,500. The total cost to set this up in today's tutorial is less than $25 or £15. Let's get started. Okay, so we're going to register the domain name and set up hosting. We're simply on hostgator.com. We're going to click the View Web Hosting Plans button in the middle, and then that brings us up with the various hosting options that you have. Now I actually like to go with the baby plan, the one in the middle, and the reason I go for that is because it gives you the unlimited domains, so you can host multiple websites, and that's really useful if you wanted to host more than one website, perhaps for a family member, or if you have multiple different kind of businesses, or indeed if you're a web designer you can host multiple client websites. So what we'll do also is we'll have a look at the billing cycle. I like to go with just monthly. Obviously if you choose anything else it reduces the monthly cost slightly, but rather than tying into 1 year or 2 years I like to go monthly, and we'll simply click on order now. Okay, and this takes us through to the order wizard page. Now we're going to be registering a new domain name for this fictitious garden maintenance company. If you already own your own domain name, then you can just simply tick that option and then put your domain name in there. Now I've already set this tab up and filled it out, so you don't have to watch me typing everything in. Best thing to do is just go through and register everything. I've put in greengardenscompany.com. You've got the option here of .net, .org, .info, .biz. I've gone with .com. It's available. I'm not going to tick any of these options here. The package type is baby. The billing cycle, as we've seen, is the 1 month. And you just literally go out, fill out a username, put in the security pin, your billing information, your payment information. Now by default it also will add on these extra things here. You've got domain privacy protection, which just protects your identity online. I'm not going to choose that. I'm going to untick it because it bumps the price up if you have it checked. Add site lock, again I think that's ticked by default. If you untick it, unless you really want it. Add code guard is also ticked. Untick that. Basically untick all of these options because it keeps the price down. To save yourself 25%, if you put in a code of, I'll put that in now, that just gives you 25% off. You hit validate, and that's a coupon code from me to give you the 25% off. Just to let you know, if you do use that code, I do get a bit of affiliate commission. So of course I appreciate it if you do use the code, and it helps me to keep building these website videos for free. So we go down, we review the amount that it costs, and as you can see it's $21.90. That gives us hosting month to month, and that gives us a domain name. There's no hosting add-ons, as you can see, we removed all of that. So the domain name, the .com, is $12.95. The baby 1 month plan is $7.46, and we've got the 25% off. Got a bit of tax added there as well. And then we simply click create account. Okay, so that's the domain name and the hosting all set up for our WordPress website, and we should be getting a confirmation email from them very shortly, so we'll take a quick look at that. Okay, so what we've got here is the confirmation email from HostGator, and it's just confirming really the shared plan that we went for, which was baby. We've got the control panel link there, which will take us into the control panel so we can set up WordPress. Username, domain name, which is the greengardenscompany.com, password, and a couple of other settings there towards the bottom that for the moment we don't need to worry about. So what we'll do next is we'll log into the control panel and we'll set up and install WordPress. Okay, so what we're going to do is log into the control panel, also known as cPanel, and actually install WordPress. So looking at the email you would have received from HostGator, we just simply click onto your control panel link. We'll open that in a new tab, and that just takes us to the control panel login, where you need to put in your username and password. So if I put in my username here, and the password again will already be in the email that you were sent, and we just click login. Okay, so we're all nicely logged in, and I'll get rid of that little message there. And this is the main control panel where we install WordPress. So if we scroll down, we're going to install WordPress now. And we scroll all the way to the bottom where it says software services, and we just simply click on quick install. And as you can see, we've got some quick install options here for various different pieces of software. We're going to go with the blog software, and where it says WordPress, click on continue. And then we're simply going to fill out this form. For this example, for this fictitious garden company website, we're just going to install WordPress in the root domain, which is greengardenscompany.com. Normally, if I was setting up a website for a client, I would actually install it in a kind of development folder or dev folder. So you can specify a kind of different folder if you want there. But as I say, we'll do it in the root, so we'll leave that. I like to untick enable auto upgrades. What that feature is, it basically will automatically update WordPress every time a new update comes out. I prefer to untick that. And we'll just fill out this information and then quickly click install now. And what will happen is when we install this, it will actually send an email to me confirming what the username and the password is. So let's just finish this off. Okay, that's all looking good, and we'll just press install now. Done. So as well as emailing me confirmation of that, you can see we've got confirmation here of a username and a password. So if we go and quickly take a look at the WordPress install now, I'll open that up in a new tab, and I'll demonstrate logging in. So this is how you access the back end of WordPress. This is where you can go in and create all the stuff that we're going to be creating. But before we do that, let's have a very quick look at the default theme for WordPress, and there it is there. So that's the theme. We're going to be changing that theme and of course updating it to the Green Gardens Company theme that we saw earlier on. But let's just very quickly log in to WordPress so you can see it in action. And there we go, that's logged us straight into the dashboard, and we are now into WordPress. So one of the very first things that I like to do once we've installed WordPress is to make sure that the URL structure is set up correctly. And so we do that by going into settings and then into permalinks. Now, using HostGator, it will actually set it by default as postname, which is exactly what we want. If you're using a different hosting company, it may well be set with the default setting, and it will structure the URL like that. So if you create a page, it's going to create, after the greengardenscompany.com, $P for page equals 123. And that's kind of neither user-friendly for us humans, and it's not particularly user-friendly for search engines. So going with this structure down here, greengardenscompany.com/sample post or sample page name. It's a lot more user-friendly for us, and it's much better and descriptive for search engines. So make sure that one's selected and then hit Save Changes. The next thing I like to do is, still in settings, we go to the general option, and then we can set up a site title and tagline. And we'll do that now. Okay, and the tagline, taking care of your space outside. The other thing that I like to do here is to actually make sure we've got the www.part in there. So I'm going to do that now. And when I hit Save Changes at the bottom, that's actually going to log me out and ask me to log back in again, because we've made a couple of changes to the URL there. So let's do that. Okay, we need to log back in. So I'll just copy that password very quickly. And there we go. So those are the couple of little changes that I like to make. Next, let's take a look at installing the theme we're going to use. So we simply click on Appearance and then click on Themes. Now the default theme is this 2014, and if we actually have a quick look at the site, you can just hover your mouse over the top there and it will say Visit Site. So we'll just do that. And this is the default theme that we have at the moment. The theme kind of controls the way everything's laid out and the way it looks, colour schemes. So we're going to change that. So we want to install a theme from WordPress.org. This is a free theme. And the theme we're looking for is called Spacious, and it's this theme here. So what we'll do, we can preview it just to see what it looks like. That's the one we want, and so we simply click on Install at the top. So that's downloading the free theme from WordPress.org, and we simply want to click Activate. So if we go back to the website where the black theme was, the new theme's now installed. So if we simply refresh the page, and you can see a new theme has been installed, and you can see the way that's kind of changed the look and the feel of the site. So that's how we install our theme. So what we want to do now is have a look at installing, or uploading rather, the custom logo, which if you remember was the green leaf. So what we'll do is we go to the section where you can do that, which is Appearance and then Theme Options. And you've got some options here for this theme. We've got various different tabs going across the top, and we'll cover that in more detail very soon. But for the moment, we're going to concentrate on the logo. And so the way I did this logo, and we'll bring it up here so you can see it, I'm using a program called Fireworks, which is a kind of design and graphics package. This is the little green kind of leaf logo that we use, and I actually did exactly what you're not meant to do when trying to set up a logo, and I'm going to show you exactly what I did. We go back here, and I did the old trusty search on Google, and I'll show you what I did and where the icon's from. Now we type in leaf icon, go to images, and now we can see the particular image that I used. We go to Visit Page. Now the thing about this leaf is you can actually use this. It's free for commercial use. The only caveat there at the bottom is If you use this image on your site or your publication, please mention schmechter.com as the source. You don't have to provide a link. So that's the only caveat. If you're going to use something like that, you do have to kind of mention where it originates from. And I wouldn't recommend that you do that. If you're doing this for your own business or for a client, I would recommend always that you get a professional logo designed. If you're good with graphics yourself, then great, you can design your own logo. If you're not so good with graphics, there are a couple of places that you can actually go to get logos designed. One of the places that I've recently used, for my brother in fact, was 99designs.co.uk. And you can actually get a competition going where you can have a really nice logo designed. The great thing about these kind of websites is that you set a budget of maybe around, I think it's about £130, £140 in English money, and you get a load of designers to compete. So you have a range of different designs, and you can then choose your favourite logo. So that's one place you can go. A little bit more expensive, but I'd say if you're setting up a business or a website for a client, you need to have things done properly and you want to make sure you own the copyright. As I say, what I've done for this example website is a demo, and I would definitely recommend that you don't try and use free vector graphics. Another place you can go to, which is ultra cheap, is fiverr.com. And you can have logo design done. Now, I've had good and bad on fiverr.com. I've actually had a couple of logos designed before and been really happy with them. But I did have one experience where a particular designer copied a logo that I didn't own the copyright to. And you kind of, I have to say, get what you pay for. If this is for a business or if this is for a client, if you're going to be really cheap about it, then you can't guarantee that you're going to own copyrights and things like that. Best thing to do is investigate these and look at people's feedback if you're going to go with Fiverr. If not, a slightly more expensive option is the logo design at 99designs.co.uk. But those are a couple of options that you can look at potentially for logos. As I say in the example, we've gone with this one, and if I bring up Fireworks, I've shrunk the image down, so I'll show you how I did that. And all we do is we save the image, and we're going to save it into here. So that's saved. Double click on it, and you can see it's huge, and all we're going to do is scale it down. Now, if you're not familiar with graphics packages like this, if you don't have access to Fireworks, there are a couple of kind of free online packages that are very similar to this, and I can show you what they are. We quickly fire up the browser, and Pixlr is a free graphics editor. So you can go in and actually launch the Pixlr web app, and you can kind of upload images and files into that and kind of manipulate the images. So if you're kind of comfortable with that stuff, this can be really good. It's free. If you've got your own graphics package like I have, great, you can use that. If not, you can actually go back to fiverr.com, and there are loads of different categories here: illustration, cartoons, web design and UI. You can get someone who's good and proficient with graphics very cheaply to actually manipulate images for you. So if you're not comfortable with it yourself, you can very cheaply hire someone to do it. So if we go back to Fireworks, and I'm just shrinking down the leaf icon, and we'll go into this one, simply pasting it in there, and we've got a fairly good match there on size. So what I'm going to do is actually export that image, and we'll then upload it. So we'll go to File, Image Preview, and then we'll go to Export, and we'll save it as Leaf 2. Okay, so we're back in WordPress, and we want to go back into Appearance and Theme Options, and we're going to upload the leaf logo. So we click on upload, go to upload files, select files, and then we're looking for leaf 2. So we're uploading that, and that's done, and it's ticked, and we click select at the bottom, and you can see the leaf logo's gone in there. So we want to make sure where it says show, we click on show both, so it's both image and text, and we'll leave that as it is there, and we'll click save. So what we want to do is visit the site, just refresh it and make sure that the logo is there, and it is. As you can see, the logo is slightly to the left of the text of Green Gardens and the tagline, and so that's our custom logo set up. So the next thing that we're going to do is actually look at setting the menu up at the top, and at the moment the only kind of menu item that we have is this sample page, which takes us to a page there. So what we'll do is we'll set this up so it has things like home, about us, services, and then a number of service pages under that as a kind of a drop down menu, which we saw right at the beginning, and also a contact us page. So let's take a look at setting all of that up now. If we go back to the dashboard in WordPress and then go back to pages and then add new, and we're going to simply add in a few pages. Now what I actually like to do for putting in kind of placer text is to use something called lorem ipsum, and it's just lipsum.com, and all you do is you generate placer text. And I find that quite useful to be able to just copy and paste into a page. So it's kind of fake content, if you like. Now, one of the things that is a good idea, if you're copying and pasting off a website like that, if you paste it directly into Visual, it's going to copy all of the kind of formatting of that text. So what I like to do is actually, rather than being on the Visual tab, go into text, paste it in, and that strips out any formatting like bold or italic text or that kind of thing. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll click publish, and that's our first page set up. If we then go through and add some more pages, put in our fake content and hit publish, and I'll go through and do that for services and contact us, and you'll see that in a minute. Okay, so I've gone through and set up the final page of contact us. So what I'm going to do is go back to all pages so you can see all of the pages that I've just created. And I didn't really want you to sit through me creating all of those pages because it's essentially the same thing. So if you are following along, just go through and create as many pages really as you like. It doesn't really matter. But what we're going to do now is actually set up the menu. And the way we do that is if we go into Appearance and then into Menus, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a menu name. So we'll just simply call this one Top. You could actually call that anything you want. It doesn't have to be top. And we'll select the tick box that says Primary Menu, and we'll hit on Save Menu. Now what you can see here, you can choose which items to actually put into your menu. So what we're going to do is click Select All and uncheck the sample page because we don't want that. And then we're going to just simply hit Add to Menu. So if we go in and have a quick look at that now, I'll get rid of the sample page and we'll visit the site and we'll just see what that looks like. Okay, that's not there for some reason. We forgot to save the menu. Let's have a look. There we go. It's just because I didn't hit save menu at the bottom. But there you can see we've got our links. Now they're not ordered in a particularly nice way, so the way we can actually reorder those is very straightforward. Just simply drag and drop. So we want home to be kind of at the top, Then we've got about, we'll drag that over here. We've then got services, which is next, that's there. Now what we want to do is actually make garden clearance, plant care and garden design kind of child links underneath the parent of services. So the way we actually do that is just to simply drag, drop and slightly to the right. And what that does is it will make it a child element and also create the drop down effect that we saw earlier. So plant care was next. There we go, and garden clearance after that. So that's how we want everything arranged. Simply click on Save Menu, and then we'll go back to the website and we will refresh it. And there you can see we've got Home, About, and then we've got the nice little drop down effect there of underneath services. So we've got garden design, plant care and garden clearance. So that's our menu all set up. We can just simply click on each item just so you can actually see the page that we set up, and you can see the kind of place of text that we actually created there. And it's the same for each page. And what we could actually do now would be to have a very quick look back at the original design, just so we kind of get a sense of what we've just done and where we're going to be going next. So let's just bring that up very quickly. And as you can see here, this is the original design that we saw earlier on. What we've done so far is upload the logo, and we've obviously got the site title and the tagline, and we've just completed the menu system. So what we're going to do next will be to look at changing the home page and the template that the home page uses, and then we're also going to be looking at sort of building up the slider system that you see here along with these. Now these elements on this page at the moment are actually powered by widgets, and I'll show you exactly how to set those up. So what we'll do next is to actually set up the correct template for the home page. So if we go back into the WordPress dashboard, and what we'll actually do is go down to settings and then into reading. Okay, so you've got some settings here. At the moment, the front page displays the latest post. And if we actually have a look at Green Gardens, the root of Green Gardens domain is showing us this Hello World post. Okay, so if we actually go in and have a look at that in here, we go to posts, all posts, open that up in a new tab, and you can see this Hello World post. Now that's something that gets installed by default when you first install WordPress. That's always there, and that's the first page that you tend to see. So for a website, you don't want to be showing latest blog posts, or certainly for a business website, you don't necessarily want to be doing that. You want a static page. So what we'll do is we'll change it to static page, and then we will select the front page as the home page that we created earlier, and we'll just click on Save Changes. Okay, so if we go back to the website now and refresh, and you can see now the home page is actually the home page that we set up earlier with that place of text. So it's got rid of the post, the default Hello World post, and replaced it with the home page. What we want to do next is to actually set up the home page so it's using the business template, and I'll show you how to do that. Now the business template just means that you can actually position certain widgets. You can use the kind of call to action button that we saw at the beginning, which is encouraging someone to get a free quote. And you can also kind of position some of the graphics in a certain way, and then you do that by changing the home page to use a slightly different template. So we'll have a look how to do that. If we go to pages, we go into home, and in a minute we're going to change it from here. It says template, default template. We're going to change it to business template. But before I do that, let's go back, quickly have a look how it is at the moment. You can see you've got content there, followed by a sidebar on the right. So if I change this to business template, this is the home page, and I hit update, if we now go back to the main site, and if I hit refresh, you can see it's completely stripped out the content and there's no sidebar, and we can see actually how we can activate widgets and also the image slider to make it look more like the website that we saw right at the very beginning, and we'll do that next. Okay, so we're going to look at setting up the image slider next, and let's do that. Let's go and have a look where you would set all of those images up. So if we go back into the WordPress dashboard, and then we're going to go back into Appearance and Theme Options, and if we go over to the Slider tab, and this is where we'll actually set up everything that we need. Now, before we get into that, we're going to need to sort of have some images. Now, I mentioned right at the start, if you've got your own kind of images where you've taken photos, you can use those, that's fine, but you need to make sure that you do have kind of permission, if you're using photos from elsewhere, that you actually have the kind of copyright to be able to display it on your website. And a place that I really like to use is a website called iStockPhoto.com. So if we take a quick look at that site, just type in iStock, and then we go here. Now, it's actually a royalty-free place, so you can actually buy images quite cheaply, and they're very high quality and very professional looking photos. So if we type in, for this project as an example, garden, and it should bring up a load of garden related images, and you can see it does. And these are the sorts of images that we can obviously use for our fictitious garden website. Now, I've actually been on here and I've purchased pictures for this project, and yeah, it's just a great place to be able to buy photos. So if you're doing your own website, or if you're doing a client's website, or maybe a friend's website, and if you don't have images, this is a great place to go. So what we'll do is, as I say, I've already downloaded some images, and if I bring in Fireworks, which is the application, the graphics application that I like to use, I've got a couple of the images that I've got here. Now, this image that you see in the middle is actually the size of the slider on the website. And when you first get an image of iStock Photo, it will be quite big. Now, this is actually zoomed in at only 50%. If I show you what the image is like at 100%, you get a sense that it's actually quite big. And so if we were uploading that image as it was, like that, onto the slider, it wouldn't look right. It would kind of try and cut it off. So what I like to do is just shrink it, and if I just copy this and place it into this area here, you can see it's a really big looking image. So I'm just going to resize it so it fits this space. And then it's really just a case of kind of positioning it within that box to get a good sense of what the picture is and what it's about. And if you want to know the actual dimension of this kind of space here, I'll just show you that very quickly. So if you do need to get the size right for your own site, if you are following along, it's 1266 pixels wide by 453 pixels high. So once we've got the picture that we like, we just simply go to File and then Export, or in this case Image Preview. I like to have a quick look at it. Okay, and then we go Export, and we can just save it as garden2.jpg. Now again, if you're not hugely familiar with designing graphics yourself, or if you don't have access to a graphics package, you can always use Fiverr.com as we mentioned earlier, or if you're pretty good with graphics but you don't have access to Fireworks or Photoshop, you can always use Pixlr on the website, which we sort of showed earlier. So don't worry if you're not great with graphics, there are ways of doing it. You can outsource it very cheaply, and as I've said, Fiverr, literally you can pay someone $5 to do it. So what we'll do next is we'll literally upload the slider image that we just resized. So if we go back into the dashboard and we go into appearance and then theme options, and we go on to the slider tab. Now what we want to do is actually check this box to activate the slider, and we're going to upload. So upload files, select files, and then we're looking for the image that we created, which is Garden 2. We'll hit open, and that's just uploading, and then we just simply hit select. Okay, and you can see the image rendering there. So if we click on save options right at the bottom, if we go to our Green Gardens site now, we should see the slider coming up, and there it is. And that kind of changes the look and the feel of the site already, I think, quite sort of dramatically. And it's looking nice and it's looking fresh. So what we'll do is have a look at adding some of the additional images into the slider. We're also going to look at how we add text to this and how you can link this to a different page. Okay, so you're probably familiar with the drill now, so we go back to the dashboard. We're going to upload the remaining images for the slider, go into appearance, theme options. Now these are some images that I've prepared earlier. And we'll go to upload. I'm not going to sort of show you how I go through and do each image. I've already demoed it once, and hopefully you kind of get a sense of what you need to do. So we're going to go with this one. And we'll just let that one upload. My connection's a bit slow here at the moment. Okay, and we'll select that image, we'll let it render, and then we'll hit save options at the bottom, and we'll just go with one more image. So we've actually got kind of 3 images that rotate. So we'll upload that one as well. Same procedure, and we're going with the garden one. And we'll just let that upload as well. And there we go. Any moment now, there it is. Alright. So finally, save options at the bottom. And we'll go and have a look at the site and just make sure that we've got those 3 images rotating. Let's have a look. And there we go. And that's just a really nice, simple effect and relevant images, obviously, to the gardening website. So what we'll look at doing next is putting in some of the text on top of these images. So let's do that now. Okay, so same as before, back to the dashboard and into appearance and then theme options. And the way you can actually put text over the slides is just from literally going into these options here. So if we enter a title, we provide professional gardening services, and then I'm going to copy and paste something from a text file. Get in touch today and see how we can transform your garden. So I'm going to just do the same against each slide. Obviously you can vary it. If you're doing this and following along, setting it up for your own business, then you can put pretty much anything that you like in there. So let's just quickly save that and have a look at it. And if we go to the site, let's have a look. And there you can see it's just put in the text that we just entered. And it's the same across each slide. Now this button here at the moment doesn't actually go anywhere other than just the home page. So we can change that very easily. Let's say we wanted it to go through to our contact page. it's literally this little bit here which says enter link to redirect slider when clicked. And what we could do is just simply link it through to the contact us page. So if I just copy that URL, that's the wrong page. This is the problem when you have millions of tabs open up at the same time. That's the wrong one as well. And that's the right one. And we'll just copy the link that we want that button to take us to, which is the contact us page. We'll paste that link in there, and then we'll just press save options. So if we go back to the main site, and if we click on that, that should take us through to the contact us page. Doesn't seem to have done. Let's have a look, let's see what I'm missing. I'm obviously missing something. Let's see, enter link to redirect slider when clicked. Let's have a look. That doesn't seem to be working for some reason. Let me just try refreshing the page again and clearing out my cache, because it could be related to that. Definitely doesn't seem to be related to that, which is odd. Just going to quickly go through here again. I'm being a muppet. I'm only doing it on one slide, I need to be doing it on all of them. There we go. Problem solved. Sometimes these things are silly, aren't they? You can just easily miss stuff that's probably glaringly obvious to you, and you're probably screaming it out on the screen as I was doing it. Let's refresh now and just see if that's worked. Okay, so that will work, and that takes you through to the contact us page. We'll check it on each slider as we go through. Let's see if it's done it on that. It has. And then we'll check the final slide. There, and that's kind of how you set that initial slider up. Pretty straightforward, pretty effective though, I think. And we've got the overlay text as well. Okay, so what we're going to do next is to actually set up the call to action buttons and some of the little graphics which display some of the services. So if we actually take a look back at the original site, and this is the completed site, what we want to do is create this call to action free quote and these graphics along with some custom testimonials. So let's do that next. So if we go back to the dashboard and we want to go into appearance and then widgets. Now the bit that we're interested in is the business top sidebar, business middle left and the business middle right. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up the call to action button that we saw just a moment ago, and that's going to go into the business top sidebar. And so if we just click the arrow there, and what we're going to do is drag where it says call to action widget, we're going to drag that in there. Okay, so we can fill this out with some information. I've already got a text file with this info in it, so I'm just going to copy and paste. And it's call us today for a free quote. And additional text we're going to put in, we have hundreds of happy customers, we'd like you to be one too. And the button text will be free quote. And at the moment we'll just set that to link in on itself. So if we click save on that, and if we go back to the website and just have a very quick look, we'll refresh the page, and there you can see we've got the quote box that's come up, the call to action. Now you could kind of put anything in there if you're following along designing your own site, but you can see how easy it is to set that up and customize it. So next what we want to do is to set up the various little images that we saw. If we go back to the original site. This is the original finished version. We're now going to create these 3 images with text and links. So we want to click onto the WordPress dashboard again, and then go to Appearance and then into Widgets. And we're going to go back to where it says Business Top Sidebar. And what we want to do is just simply drag where it says Services, and it's going to fit just underneath the Call to Action widget. And as you can see, it actually brings up some options here, some pages. And these are going to be the service pages, and each kind of image piece of text will link into that page. So we're going to choose garden design as the first one. Next one will be plant care, and then the next one after that will be garden clearance. So if we click save, and then if we go and visit the site now and just see how that's looking. So you can see just by filling in those 3 things, it's placed these 3 items here. And what it's actually doing is it's grabbing a small kind of snippet of text from the garden design page. So if we go and have a look at garden design, it's actually dragging in some of this text as a snippet, which you can see again here. So what we need to do is actually add the images in for each of these blocks. So let's do that now. And if we go back into the trusty old dashboard, go into Pages and All Pages. And what we want to do first is go into the garden design page. Now the way we actually get the image in here is to set a featured image. So let's just do that now. We'll click on that. We'll go to Upload Files, select Files, and we're going to get the files that I've actually already created. So we're going to upload a couple of these images here. We've got clippers, watering can and wheelbarrow. So I'm going to open up and upload all of those at once. Now these are images again that I've already pre-purchased and resized accordingly. I actually got these images from a slightly different website this time, and those images are from a website called dreamstime.com. So if we go and have a look at that, and again it's kind of royalty-free stock photography. It's another alternative to the iStock photo website that we saw earlier on. So if I bring up Fireworks just to demonstrate what I've done, we've got these images here, and as I've shown before, you can kind of resize them. You'll get, when you purchase them, they'll be slightly bigger than this, and I've kind of optimized it for a size that I think kind of works well on the site. So if you are going to follow along and you want to know what the size of this kind of image is, we can have a quick look at the canvas size, and it's 313 pixels wide by 216 pixels high. So as I say, I'm not going to take you through kind of manipulating the images, and I think you probably get an idea of kind of how you can do it if you're not great with packages yourself. So if we go back into Edit Page, and the one we actually want to select is this one, which is the clipper, and we're going to simply click Set Featured Image. Okay, and you'll see that coming up down there, and if we press Update, and if we just visit the site, you'll see now that we've got the image there that's coming up, and that looks fine. Okay. So we'll do the same again for plant care. So back into the dashboard and into Pages, All Pages, and we're going to go with the plant care page. And we're going to select the watering can image as the featured image. So we've already uploaded that. Tick box and go Set Featured Image. And then we update. So if we have a quick look at the site again, just to make sure it's there, it is. And so what we'll do is go back into Dashboard, Pages, and Garden Clearance is the final page we want to go into, and we'll use a wheelbarrow image for that. So again, set featured image, and simply tick on the wheelbarrow and select at the bottom and update. Okay, so we'll quickly look at the site just to make sure the wheelbarrow image is in there. And as you can see, we've got all of the 3 images going across. Now, I did sort of purposely set some of these images slightly too big. They are quite big, quite cumbersome. You can actually upload photos into WordPress. Not all photos work really well like this, so the image slider, for example, won't work in the same way quite as well as this does, but you can actually crop and resize images like this within WordPress itself. And we'll take a very quick look at actually how you do that, so we can make some of these images slightly smaller and less cumbersome. So back into the trusty WordPress dashboard, and we're going to go into Media and Library, and we're going to manipulate the 3 images that we see here. So we're going to start off with the wheelbarrow and just simply click on Edit Image. Now, as I said, the wheelbarrow is actually purposefully too big, so I wanted to kind of show you this functionality within WordPress where you can actually scale the image. And the size we actually want it to be is 217 wide by 150. Now, this is just my personal preference. I obviously gave you the dimensions of the image a little bit earlier on. By all means, keep them. If you're following along designing your own site using this theme, you can kind of have any size you want, but this is my own personal preference, and I think this size of image looks quite good. So it's 217 by 150, and you'll notice that when I changed that dimension, it automatically changed that as well. So it's kind of keeping the original dimensions but scaling the image down. So if we click on Scale, and as you can see, it's created it there, and it looks slightly smaller, which is good, and it's saved the image too. So if we go on to the next image, and you can simply use the arrow key there, and we're going to click Edit Image, do exactly the same as before, change that to 217, and then Scale. Okay, and that's saved. And then the final one, click on Edit Image, same as before, 217, Scale, done. Okay. So if we're going to have a look at the site now, and you can see that the images are much smaller than they were before. And as I said, personally I think that looks a little bit neater, a little less cumbersome, and it's entirely up to you to kind of play around with those image sizes. But it's interesting to see how you can actually kind of play around and crop and to an extent manipulate the images within WordPress itself. The next bit that we're going to do on the home page is to actually set up the customer testimonials. Now, if we take a look back at the completed site, we can see what we've just done there, which was this middle element here. What we want to do is set up these testimonials at the bottom. So we now need to set up the testimonials on the home page. And from the WordPress dashboard, we're just going to go back into Appearance and then into Widgets. And the one that we actually want to look at first is the business middle left sidebar. And we want to grab the testimonial widget and drag it over and drop it in. And we'll give it a title and a description. Now, let's just have a look. I've got some pre-made text here that I'm just going to copy and paste in, save me having to type it out. And then we're going to use the good old lorem ipsum text just as padding text. And we'll put in my name there. And I won't bother putting in a byline, and we'll click Save. And then we're going to add one in to the right as well. So we'll click on the business middle right sidebar and we'll drag a testimonial widget into that. Again, pre-made text, I'll just copy and paste with a good old lorem ipsum text and give this a different name, and we'll press save. And that's the testimonial set up. So if we go and have a look at that on the site, and there they are there. And again, all of this stuff's pretty straightforward and easy to set up once you know how with the widgets. Next up, we're going to take a look at how to insert an image into one of our pages. So if we go to services at the top and into garden design, we've got some of the lorem ipsum kind of placement text there, just example text, so we can see what the page looks like. But what we want to do is actually insert an image so the text wraps around it and it kind of floats to the right there. So what we'll do is, whilst we're on this page, a number of different ways you can do it. You can go back to the dashboard, but when you're on a particular page, you'll see this edit page option, and we're just going to literally click on that one, and that takes us through to the relevant page. And we've got our text here, so we're going to float the image to the right. So I'm going to put my cursor right at the beginning of the lorem ipsum text and click on Add Media. And we want to upload an image. So if I do that quickly now, and let's have a look for the right folder. Too many folders on my desktop, too many things going on, need to clear all of that up. Let's have a look, see if I can find what I'm after. There we go, garden website example. Okay, so the particular image that we're going to use here, I think I'm going to use this one. Oh, we could go with that one. Doesn't really matter, let's go with that. Okay, so that's just uploading the nice stock photo at the moment. And it's quite a large file, I think, by the looks of it, so it may take a little bit of time just to upload. Okay, so that's finished uploading now, so we're going to simply make sure it's ticked, as you can see it is at the top, and we're going to insert page. Now, as you can see, it's nearly 10 meg, which is pretty huge for an image. Normally what I would do is optimize that within Fireworks or any other graphics package to reduce that file size down, and you just do that by shrinking the image. So we're going to see how you can actually do that within WordPress directly within the page editor. So if we go insert into page, just to show you here, you can actually already reduce the size of it. You've got the size option here, and at the moment it's set as medium. Full size, you can see the dimensions are big, large is pretty big, medium's kind of just right for what I want to demonstrate here. So if we go insert into page, and as you can see, the image there is kind of directly to the left of the text, and it's not really wrapping around it. It looks a bit strange. So all we want to do is align it to the right, and there you can see the text kind of wraps around it nicely, and it's all in correct alignment there. So we'll just click on update, and if we go to view page, and there you go, and that's how you can kind of insert an image within the page. And again, very easy to get to the page to edit the text. You just simply go into edit page, and we'll go back there now. And there we go. And if you actually wanted to resize the image, you can do that very simply just by clicking onto it, and you'll notice it kind of places these little kind of icons around the corner, and that's just to allow you to kind of stretch and resize. So if we wanted to make it slightly bigger, we can drag it out like that, and it makes the image bigger, and it also kind of pushes the text to the left. We can kind of play around with it and alter it to suit what we want. And then when you're done, you just simply click update. And that's a nice quick way of being able to alter an image size within the WordPress page editor. So the next thing that we're going to look at is the sidebar and actually setting a testimonial and a call to action. Now, if we actually go and have a look at one of our pages, you can see we've got the sidebar here, and it's just got your general default kind of settings of posts, comments, archives. WordPress generally sort of puts that in there as the default layout, but we can change all of that. So the way we do that is if we go back to dashboard and then go to appearance and then widgets, and where we actually want to put our information is in this right sidebar section. You can see we've already got search, recent posts, and a number of the default things that WordPress will install there. So we want to get rid of that. And just hit on delete. We'll go through and we'll get rid of all of these. And as I say, we can then put in our call to action and testimonial boxes. So there we go, and that's all gone. So if we look over onto the left hand side here, we've got our call to action widget, so we'll drag and drop it into there. And we also want the testimonial widget, which is here, and we'll simply drag that above there. And it's just a case of really filling this information out. So I'm just going to copy and paste very quickly, and I'll save that, and then we'll have the call to action widget, which we'll just copy and paste again just to save a bit of time. Button text, free quote, you can put anything you like in there. And I'm just going to link this through to the contact page. Let's have a look. I won't do that. Let's just change it. We'll make sure we get the right URL. So if we click on contact us, we can then just copy and paste. There we go. And we go to save. So if we go back to the page now, you can see that, let's bring up, the sidebar's changed from what we had before, which was the default kind of posts and comments and all that kind of stuff. We've now got a testimonial, and we've now got the call to action box as well. So that's how you can kind of change the sidebar. So that's pretty powerful and pretty straightforward. It's just done within widgets and in the right sidebar section. The next bit that we're going to look at is setting up the contact form on the contact page. So if we go and have a quick look at the contact us page. Now at the moment we've just simply got the lorem ipsum text in there. We've got the sidebar widgets, which we created just a moment ago, but we want the form here so a potential client can fill it out with their information, and when they hit submit it will actually just come through to a predefined email address. So in order to get the contact form going, we need to install a plugin, and if we go back to our dashboard just as a reference point, and then we go to plugins and add new. Now the plugin that we're looking for is Contact Form 7, so you just type it in and hit enter, and there it brings it up here. Now it's pretty popular, as you can see. It's had quite a few downloads and it's really highly rated as well. So we'll go to install now and then OK. Now the great thing about plugins is it does extend the kind of feature set of WordPress, and there's so many different plugins out there, you know, contact form plugins, forum plugins, pretty much any kind of plugin that you could imagine to enhance what WordPress can do. And some are free, some are paid for. Generally the ones through WordPress like that are free, but you can get premium plugins from other sites and install them, but we'll stick with a free one for this. And there we go, we've got a contact form all set up there. And we've activated the plugin just so it all works. Let me just take you back quickly to plugins again. If you need to ever activate a plugin on the plugins page, and if it's not already activated, you have the activate button, and it's just a case of clicking that. But we've already activated contact form 7, so let's go back in there. And if we go into contact form 1, this is the default one that gets set up. And we'll have a look here. So that's fine. What we've got here is the form, and you can actually customize this, but as it is at the moment, it's the default kind of form, and that's fine for our testing purposes now. And the only thing you need to really do to configure it to make sure it goes through to your email address is simply where it says to, just fill in your email address there, and that will then send any inquiry through to that particular email address. So we just click on save. Now this next bit is the important part, and this is called a shortcode. And what we do is simply copy and paste this into the Contact Us page. So if we go into Contact Us and we go to Edit, and then all we need to do is paste that in there like that, hit Update, and if we go to View Page, we can now see we've got this really nice, simple yet effective contact form. So if we fill out some details quickly, and we just go to john@test.com. Hello, can you give me a free quote? And then we hit send. Okay, so it says your message was sent successfully. Now we can go and have a quick look at the email that comes through to my inbox just so you can actually see it. But that's a really straightforward, simple way of setting up a contact form, and it's kind of a must-have really for any sort of business website or any personal website or even a blog. Okay, so we're in my email inbox at the moment, and you can see the very top email here is the one that we've just literally sent from the Green Gardens company website. So if we go into that, and you can see all the information that I filled out just a moment ago from john@test.com, hello, and the message I put in there was, can you give me a free quote? So there we have it, and just simply clicking reply, it will automatically take the customer's email address and put it in there. So I think you'll agree it's pretty straightforward, very powerful, and pretty much a must-have for certainly any business website to have a contact form like that. Right, that's our fictitious garden company website done and dusted. I've shown you how to build a WordPress website using a free theme, and I hope you found it really useful.